Okay, Shapton versus Naniwa. I'm going to try and do this pretty quick. I'm going to show you the stones that I have, um, and understand that this is my sample size. Okay, you're going to see every Shapton and Naniwa I own today, and if there's a stone you don't see, I haven't used it, and I can't compare it to what I have because I haven't used it. Okay, so everything you hear out of my mouth today is going to be based on the stones you see here. Okay, so starting with the Shaptons. I got 3 Shapton Glass stones. I got a 120, a 220, and a 320. I have a Shapton Rockstar 500. I'll talk about these real quick first. What is a Shapton Glass stone? Well, so this guy here is the 120. This guy here is the 220. That's the grit. They have glass on the back. You can see that they're kind of thin. I bought these low grit stones, the 120 and the 220, because I couldn't find a grit that low in any other kind of stone. I mentioned in the previous video that I didn't love these stones for what they are, which is something I don't need to use very often to work on an edge that is really, really, really needing repair. I mean, in bad shape. They're not bad. They're pretty good, actually. They're growing on me. I'm finding that as I learn how and when to use them a little better, they are more and more useful to me. Again, I don't use them a ton because I don't run across very many knives that need that kind of repair and care. But when I do, they do the job, and that's nice. Again, I don't think some of the other Shaptons come in grit this low. What do I think of them? Well, the glass is supposed to make them flat. You still obviously have to lap them to keep the top flat, but the glass will prevent them from warping or something. I don't know. They're okay. They're a little more expensive. I don't know if they're worth that money. If the Rockstar came in 120 and 220, I might advise someone to go for those, but go for that instead, because in general the Rockstars are cheaper. But I don't think they do, or at least I haven't seen them. So that said, if you need a 120 and 220, these are fine. Anyway, that's the Shapton Glass stone. Here's a Rockstar. This is a 500. Rockstar 500. No glass. As far as I can tell with the Rockstars are like the Shapton Glass stones, except there's more stone to them and they don't have the glass. In general, they're a little cheaper for the same grit. I say in general because if you shop around, you never know what kind of different pricing you'll find sometimes. Sometimes the generalities don't work, so it's worth shopping around. It really is, because when I say in general, I really mean in general, because sometimes the pricing makes no sense. Sometimes you'll find a 10,000, and I haven't actually seen this. I'm just using an extreme example of what I'm trying to say. You could find like an 8,000 glass stone that's less expensive than this Rockstar 500. Have I actually seen that? No, I haven't, but I have seen crazy things like that. I have seen the Rockstar like 16,000 cheaper than the Rockstar 8,000, which makes no sense. I think I've seen some high grit Rockstars more expensive than the same grit in the glass, and it's probably a fluke that someone will take care of. If you see it, take advantage of it if you're interested in those stones. Okay, so that's the Rockstar and the glass stones. I use the Rockstar a fair amount. I only use the glass stones when I need to repair some serious damage on a stone. Much more often, I use these Shapton Pros. This guy here's the 320. This is the 1000. Right off the bat, you can see they're different colors, which is nice. You can look at them and say, okay, that's that one. This is the 1000, and nice and easy. Unlike the glass stones, you have to look at the back to see what it is. These Shapton stones, splash and go. Super, super convenient and easy. Okay. Splash and go. Spray some water on it, and you can start sharpening. I'm not really sharpening this knife. I'm just using this to, mess around on this stone. But that's all, that's all you got to do. Okay. Easy. Convenient. I got a 2000 Shapton Pro and a 5000. This is a nice stone. Splash and go. All of them splash and go. The Naniwas. Love the Naniwas. I really do. They're great. What's the difference? Well, why am I spraying this? I should get one I got soaking over here. The Naniwas have a much smoother feel to them in the same grit as the Shapton. So this is a Naniwa 1000. It's been soaking, and this feels like velvet. It's just got a really nice feel to it. By comparison, the Shaptons feel gritty. So I have both. For myself, I do have both, and I would do it again. Even though I prefer sharpening on the Naniwas, the Shaptons are much more convenient. I keep the Shaptons in my traveling kit, so I don't have to soak them if I'm visiting someone or if I'm traveling and I want to sharpen something. Pull them out, throw some water on them, and start sharpening. These you would have to carry, the Naniwas, you would have to carry some kind of bath or something to soak them in. And that's just not really convenient unless I'm at home and I have the equipment and the time to deal with it. So that's one big difference. The feel, as I mentioned before, is another big difference. This Shapton feels grittier than this. And that in general, I would say, is true of the whole line. The Shaptons feel a little grittier than the Naniwas of, say, the same rate or grit. And because of that, I personally like sharpening on the Naniwas a little better. Is the result dramatically different? I'm going to say not really. I mean, you may come off of one stone and have a different scratch pattern, say, on the Naniwa 1000 than you do on the Shapton 1000. But if you do a proper progression through stones of similar grit, at the end, is there a difference? Yeah, maybe. Is it a big deal for a kitchen knife or a utility knife of some kind of, a pocket knife? No. I can get just as good an edge on the Shaptons as I can on the Naniwas. It's really just a subjective question of feel that I like the Naniwas. As I mentioned before, I have them both because these are more convenient, and if I want to do something really quick, just to get it done, the Shaptons are better. There's no there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Easy, easy, easy. A little bit of a pain because you got to soak them, and that's that. What do I recommend? Well, I recommend them both. They're both great. They both have their purpose. If you're a beginner and you're just starting in on sharpening, I would say get the Shapton. The Shapton is a perfectly good, adequate stone to learn on. You're going to learn everything you need to know. The Naniwas, I think, are a little advanced in that. Well, first of all, you got to soak them, which is a little bit of a pain. Second of all, you got to really take care of them. I think there's a little bit more maintenance involved in the Naniwas. I feel like they're a little softer, and you got to keep on top of them a little bit more to make sure that they're always flat. not a ton. And, we're not talking about huge difference here, but a little bit. So maintenance wise, I would say the Shaptons are probably easier too. Uh, but I think if you want to learn what sharpening is really about, you're better off with the not with the Shapton rather, because these are such smooth and velvety stones. You don't want to come away thinking that every stone is like that. That's this. It's like almost you learn on a stone that sort of typifies sharpening on the Shapton, and then if you care enough to get into it a little deeper, then pick up a Naniwa and say, "Ooh, this is nice." Um, but if you're just saying, "Okay, I'm going to have two or three stones, and that's as far as I'm going to go," get the Shapton. There's no question about that. Get the Shapton. It's going to do everything you need it to do. It's easier, less maintenance, etc. If you're a guy like me, who's going to pick up a whole bunch of stones and compare them, and do different things in different places, different times, and go by the little hairs on the back of your neck and say, "I feel like a Naniwa today," well, then I would say get both. Um, is there a circumstance in which I would say just get the Naniwa? I mean, if you're an advanced sharpener and you already know what you're doing, you're going to know which one you want. Outside of that, I'd say go with the Shapton. That's just my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. Anyway, so I've got two types of Naniwas. I've got the Chosera and I've got the Goukens. I've got more. I've only got the one Chosera, the 400, and I got a bunch of Goukens. What's the difference? Well, I don't know for a fact what the difference is, but based on my sample size, it seems to me the difference is that the Choseras are thicker than the Goukens. I don't have a 400 Gouken to compare to my Chosera 400, but just looking at the stones and comparing the feel, that's the only obviously the 600 is a little finer than the 400, but other than that, I don't detect any serious difference between the two. Uh, I think the Goukens are a great deal. I've got a whole bunch of them, and I think they're good stones. Outside of the Gouken, I've got this. This is the green brick of joy. I don't know, can't remember what they actually call it. Maybe that's what they call it. I don't know. I can't read Japanese, so might say that on the box. This is 2K. This is a great stone, really great stone. Big and thick, which is good because I have to lap it a lot because, as you can see, it's a little, the swarf is kind of hard to get out. So you can see there's some swarf on the edge that kind of leaks down and somehow sticks to the stone. So I got to lap it a lot. So it's a nice big thick stone. That's good. I don't have to worry about wearing it out when I lap it. And the feel of this stone, wow, it's got an amazing feel to it. And I've tried to figure out how to explain it to someone who can't touch it, and I can't. It's almost like it's hard and soft at the same time. It's like sharpening on a pillow, except it's obviously hard. Um, but there's a sort of clay-like cushiony feel to this stone that I think is impossible to describe unless you actually experience it. I like it. I think a lot of other people like it too. Everything I've ever read about this stone before I bought it was positive, and I highly recommend it too. Again, this is a stone you got to soak. So if you don't care to deal with that hassle, get the Shapton 2000. It's a great stone. Does the same stuff. Excuse me. So I also have 4,000 and an 8,000 Gouken. This is the Hayabusa. This is the Fuji. Similar to that green brick of joy, these both have that sort of pillowy, smooth, clay-like, indescribable feeling to them that you just have to feel to get it. I just it's amazing. It feels great. It really does. It's just so nice. And I can't describe it because I've got nothing else like it. It's just a real treat to sharpen on these stones. even more than the 1000 and below stones. I mean, these have a nice velvety feel to them, but these are on another level. The 4, the 8, and the green brick of joy, the 2. I want to try and describe it. I can't. I don't have the words for it. If you ever get a chance, try it. However, if you're not into collecting these stones or sharpening all the time, and you just want something for practical purposes, you're not going to get into this and go crazy like someone like me or some of the other guys you see on YouTube. I'd give them a miss. You don't need that. You don't have to have it. It's a treat if you sharpen a lot. If you don't sharpen a lot, if you just want a stone that, you know, you can get on, sharpen, put it away, and be done, you want the Shaptons. Nice stone. This has a nice feel to it too. It's just not as nice as the Naniwas. That's all. It does what it needs to do, and it's easy. I recommend these too, just for a different reason. Anyway, that's my comparison between Shapton and Naniwa. Why do you care what I have to say? Well, I have the stones and I can compare them. It's just my opinion, just what I think. You can take that for what it's worth. I'm just some retired guy, and that's what I get out of comparing these stones. So I hope you found that useful. If you have any questions, you can put them below. I'll do my best to answer them. Again, I'm not some oracle who's been doing this for 40 years and knows everything there is to know. I'm basing my opinion on what I have and what I've done, which is probably only a little bit more than you, might not even be. So anyway, thanks very much for watching.